Hello, it's Thursday, the last day of April, the 30th. How are you all doing? I'll show a little bit of music because I did spend the day yesterday outside and then the evening playing music. Not much else. Kind of a quiet day. Did listen to the news. So there's this big push to open everything back up. I'm hoping it goes well. I don't know what to think. I'm going to kind of stay kind of close to home for the time being. There's this huge economic concern. I understand it, and at the same time, I just don't know if this big push is going to bring the results that the businessmen are concerned about. I still think that our concerns, our human concerns, are more important than the economic ones that the world is freaking out about. Really worried about money. Oh well. So, again, I appreciate the interaction with you folks. I'd like to share with the person who shared with me about the roof. I own this house, and I replaced the roof already several years ago. If I live here long enough, maybe I'll have to replace the roof twice, but the roof is fine because I just replaced it less than 10 years ago. And since I've been in this home, since I bought this house, I've been here almost 30 years, something like that. I replaced the furnace already too. Several things. I have not just sat here and let it crumble around me. It's like people get impressions, because you only get a certain amount of information. And I'm prickly about that. It's a PTSD thing, going back to a childhood. I'll share, and then I'll move on and talk about music. It does have to do with racism, and I'll bring it up because it's important for you to understand. And that reminds me of something else to mention. Growing up in redneck Nebraska in the 60s, everything black people did was doubted. Well, we weren't as smart as, we were the inferior, and we were treated like that by them, and in schools and stuff, and so it's always stuck in my craw. I know what I'm talking about. I'm not stupid. I know, I do know things, and do need help with things, but when that comes up, I just, that's why it's there. It's a PTSD thing, I'm not stupid. I know you didn't mean it that way, but just so you understand. I got another message, comment from someone yesterday regarding Omaha and the band 311. I'm happy to tell you that if you could get a hold of 311 and ask them about Dereck Higgins, they will all tell you, yeah, Dereck is one of the people that got us going. Literally, when they were kids, they would come and see my band, RAF. We are one of the prime punk bands to ever come out of the state of Nebraska. And, I've been a backstage guest at their shows when they've come through town. It's been a while, but I remember one time in particular when they were on their way up that Nick Hexum spotted me and insisted on giving me the rock star treatment. Took me backstage, offered me stuff I didn't want, as far as, the stuff that rock bands do, and then made a big deal. Hey, everybody, you got to come over here and check out Dereck Higgins is at our show. I loved it, it's great for the ego. So yeah, 311, you get a chance to ask him. Yeah. It's part of why I'm in the Nebraska Music Hall of Fame, because of my involvement in just being part of music, and music on the real side here in Nebraska since the 70s. Okay. So to talk about some records, as I shared with you, since we've been in lockdown, I've made it's actually several orders from Laser's Edge. I got turned on to them through Anthony Ferraro, and the mail order primarily focuses on prog rock, progressive metal, and some psychedelia and stuff like that. And it was through getting the Super Sister records that I investigated and saw they have some reissues of old stuff that I've always wanted, and so I've been ordering it, and I'll show you more of what I got. But I want to set this up. So there's the band Steve Harley and Cockney Rebel. You guys remember this band? Best Years of Our Lives. They just had a couple songs that I really like, but I'm showing this because of the keyboardist Duncan McKay, who is very good. And I, for years, have had this album of his, Score, which is progressive and very good. But he had this, his first solo album was only released on vinyl in South Africa, if I'm not mistaken, because that's where he's from. But I've always been intrigued by the cover, and I have had it for a while burned, but I finally got a copy of it. Duncan McKay's Chimera. Isn't that an odd cover? Is that like a balloon that has partially run out of air? It's kind of hard. It's a strange, surreal cover, but I love that. Originally on the Vertigo label down in... So originals of these are rare and very expensive. This is prog rock. Now, I need to qualify my love for prog rock because I know that there are jazzers and other people who listen to different kinds of music who think that prog rock is pretentious and shitty. And some of it is. But what it means to me in relation to my life and my interest in it all my life, and my difficulty in getting a hold of the records has always made the records to be continuously interesting, and I want them. So this was one, and I'm not disappointed. I really like this. It's keyboard driven, lots of changes, references to classical pieces. There is some singing, but thankfully it's at a minimum. The focus is on the music. So I'm really glad to get this one. Duncan McKay's Chimera. Been after this record for a long time. Got that. I have been beefing up my Magma collection, and I've long time loved Magma, but I haven't always been able to collect them like I wanted. They have a lot of stuff out. So I've been catching up, and I got this album of theirs, Felicite, Thosz. Came out in 2015. This is really excellent. They sing in their own made-up language, and I like that. I don't care what the hell they're singing about. They could be singing something really inappropriate. I don't know, but the music is majestic and powerful. And I feel the power and the majesty of this music right now. I find it invigorating and helpful. That's one I got. I got another one. Should I put it? I think I put it away. I'll go ahead and show. I don't have as much Magma as I'd like. And I would collect them all if I could, but the other recent addition to the collection from Lasers at Edge is Real Saltak. This is a remake of a song from their second album, and it's a really good, spirited version. Love Magma. So, just right quick, Magma's first album. I don't have all their albums. I've got some. This is the second album, 1001 Degrees Centigrade. Mechanic Destructo Commando. This is the first record I heard by them, but didn't like it. Then I heard this, Contarcos. I liked it, but it scared me. I actually sold it and then bought it again because it was like I went through some strange times. Magma Live, fantastic. Voodoo, all these. Highly recommend all these. In edits, an official bootleg. Attack, this is another one I got recently. Christian Vander, Retrospective, Volume 1 and 2. What a drummer. What a monster drummer. Retrospective, Volume 3. Yeah, I like Magma. I do. Worda Ita. This is a reissue of his solo album. Can't call the name of it right now. And then this. And then I showed this where I got this recently. Slagtons. And now the Felicite Thosz. Fantastic, powerful music. I do have at least 2 more titles on CD that I don't have on my vinyl. Let me show you another, because I'm just not going to show them all now, because I'm still absorbing them. But I got another record by a German band that I've been wanting forever, because the album is very expensive and hard to find. Now, I've had 2 records by them for a while. I don't consider it krautrock. I don't like that term krautrock, actually. Message is a German band that was fronted by an English guitar player, Alan Murdoch. And they've gone through a bunch of changes, okay? This is the first album of theirs I was able to find many, many years ago as a cutout. You can see by the cover that it's not... It doesn't look very promising, and it really isn't. You know, it's just kind of you know. The next one I got by them, I bought this at Amoeba out in L.A. Astral Journeys, Message. This is a much better album. And as you can see, in contrast, it doesn't even look like it could be the same band. And in many ways, it's not. The band's been through a lot of changes, with the Alan guy being the main one always in the band. This is pretty good. Kind of proggy. But the one of theirs that I've been after, I finally got a reissue of, and I'm really glad to get this. I think this is a classic German rock underground record that people don't know about. Message from Books and Dreams. People who do know about this know what I mean. This is heavy. Heavy riffs. This is in the same area of heaviness and progressive like Deep Purple and Black Sabbath, but then also Brain Ticket and stuff like that. It's very heavy of what it's talking about, but the riffs, the music is really good, really powerful and loud. The cover is very, very fitting. I've been wanting this album for decades, and I'm really drawn to that cover. The snake going through the skeleton, nasal cavity. Books and Dreams. I've played this several times since I've had it on CD forever, but it just is so much fun to drop the needle. This one is real happy to add this to the collection finally, from Books and Dreams. Let me show. Okay, I'll show one more. I've been buying some cool shit for me. Like I said, my nerdy self really relates to outsider music and music that just is not part of the mainstream. So that when the Germans decided to break away from trying to sound like Americans, man, I really related to that. And so consequently, a lot of that German rock out of the 70s just really trips my trigger. Here's one that's very rare, hard to find. Didn't think I'd ever have a copy on vinyl. An original of this would be 1,000 plus. The band is Dennis. The name of the band is Hyperthalamus. The band was started by this guy, Karsten Bond, drummer, who was in the band Frumpy and some other bands. Good drummer. But this is spacey. It's not... Half of this album is poorly recorded, okay? And are jams. But the first track, Do Your Own Thing, is the one. It has an elusive quality to it, and it's like it doesn't quite get where it's trying to go. That's the beauty of it. It's searching, and it's like, what is this? What is this? And it's like, and it almost gets there, and then it kind of dissipates. That's the best way I can explain it. But it's like it's on that song. It's like, wow, that's the kind of thing I'm always looking for. I love this album. Another thing I'll say, because I deleted the comment a while back, the person probably didn't mean anything by it, but again, it's like so I don't need to deal with this. The comment was that your descriptions are better than the records. Well, that's all relative. This is my taste, okay? And not everyone's taste is the same. So that one was like, yeah, I don't like that. You know, there may be some truth to it, but it's like, this is what I like, okay? I'm telling you what I like. You know, it's all relative. I'll show one more, because I've got a few. I mean, of course, I've got a house full to show you. Il Rovesio, oh my goodness, it's not on here. RDM, Italian Contamination. I used to have an original of this. And it's an example of, like I said, when I went through that period of craziness where I sold records I love. I don't even, I was out of my mind. This is a reissue of this Italian. I love this album. It's got that mixture of classical, jazz, and what I call the Italian spirit, almost like opera, where things are larger than life and very expressive. But RDM Contamination, really good. Rovesio del Medagli, something like that. I love this album. Really happy to get it. And that's where, okay, I keep saying this. There's lots to talk about. I'm going to leave it right there because it's 17 minutes already. Again, as I say, I hope everyone's doing okay and staying strong. Have you lost any loved ones to the virus? I have. So hang tough and talk to me.